Are you teaching me fist bump?
No, I'm just giving you a fist bump. Okay, so I want to talk about something different today that doesn't need a horse, and I have Sana here with me, who is my delightful helper. You come at the moment 3 days a week to help me with the horses
Yes.
and filming and all sorts of things, and we support each other. At least we try to. Um, and
Kind of weird to be in front of the camera.
it
Usually
is
I'm the one
weird.
holding it.
It is weird. Try editing yourself, and you really want to start throwing up. So she doesn't know what I'm going to ask her to do, but I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of important anyway, because it does apply to not only writing, but groundwork as well. And that's accuracy of our movements through space, accuracy of our pathways through space, and knowing how to do this precisely and accurately. Because I see a lot of people who need to have need to replicate a specific pathway through space with their horses, and they're figuring it out with their horse and with themselves at the same time. But if you know what you're doing with your body first, then it's easier, of course, to teach this to your horse. So first thing I want you to do, Sane, is start back there at the fence and just walk in a straight line, if you can, please. Good.
Towards the camera.
Yes, just walk in a straight line towards me, if that's all right. Good. Now, if you were a four-legged animal, would that have been any different for you to walk in a straight line? Other than, of course, the coordination of where you put,
Legs.
yes, other than, of course, where you would put your legs, but how you used the space, would it be any different?
I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you. If you're four-legged, moving straight, there's no big difference to the way we see it. If you're moving straight and you're a four-legged or a two-legged animal, there's no difference, meaning that I'm going straight towards the camera. Because I'm moving straight, there is essentially a line in space in between my two legs that transverses my body and my center line. That's how we know we're moving straight, right? That's balanced straightness, is to take the center of our body and place that accurately on a single line and be able to maintain that line,
Right.
right? Now, because we have vertical spines, would it be easier or harder to walk in a straight line than a four-legged animal with a long spine between four legs?
Would it be easier or harder with a vertical spine? I think it's harder.
With a vertical spine? Why do you think it would be harder with a vertical spine?
Because, like, if you have a horizontal spine, it already makes that line that you're trying to follow.
Mm-hmm. It could. Yes, exactly.
Whereas with a vertical spine, you can kind of easily um,
Pivot.
twist away from it.
Twist and pivot away from it. So walk in a straight line again. I promise I'm going somewhere with this because you're going, where is he going?
What is this?
Where is he going? What are we doing? Okay. And there's no wrong answer now. Just try walking in a straight line again. And this time, I just want you to be more aware of that center line of your body.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. I see you're already having to think more about it, right? And you can notice micro adjustments when your center line comes off, right?
Yeah.
Because now you're aware of that transverse line through your body, which kind of ends at like the top of your pelvic floor, right? And then from the pelvic floor, it goes through clear space between your two legs. And now that you're aware of that plumb line through your body, suddenly you're not walking like this anymore, right? Where you're kind of twisting into your hips and maybe there's like a little micro adjustments off the center line. Now, because you're aware of that plumb line through your body already, you're moving more like this, right? More square almost. A feeling of square,
Okay.
okay? If you had a long spine, how might that be different? Stay right here. Promise I'm going somewhere with this, Anne. This is very handy that this is just happens to be laying about.
Is that gonna be my long spine?
This is going to be your long spine. Okay, this happens just to be hanging about. So let's imagine this is a long spine, a very long spine of a horse. Correctly, the spine should be lifting into the saddle. Most of the time, however, most horses haven't been trained, so they're sinking away from that pressure, right? They're sinking away from that pressure. Gosh, that almost broke. That's the sun here, huh? Just baked stuff. Anyway, let's not think about that right now. Just, I want you to hold it like this. I don't want you to hold it like this, just for argument's sake, and so we don't feel completely stupid walking around with this in front of us. Just hold it underneath your arm and just imagine it's your spine and that you're moving straight like this. And now that you have an awareness that there's sort of two parts of the body that the horse might have to coordinate, and just walk straight with that. Well, actually, hold it from your solar plexus out in front. There we go. And now walk. It is quite heavy, right?
I don't have front legs to carry it.
Well, a horse should be carrying themselves on their hind legs, shouldn't they? There we go. Okay, so try and organize that. Kind of hard. Now move forward straight. Already a little bit more challenging, right? If you're carrying yourself from your hindquarters,
Yeah.
it's already a little bit more challenging. Because just to move straight, you've got a whole bunch of stuff you have to recruit here to carry yourself on the front. Hold that. I'm not going to give you a heavy weight like a tire. Let's take our little mounting block, move back. Thank you for being a good sport.
Oh, are you gonna put that there? It's gonna fall, it's gonna slide off. Okay, I won't be able to hold that.
What do you have to do to be able to hold that?
Um,
Maybe to sink the spine?
Fair enough.
Yeah? Maybe sink the spine
It's gonna fall off
to
anyway.
carry it, and then maybe brace in the front. Now you can move forwards, right?
Yeah.
Brace in the front. With a sunken spine, now you can move front.
It's actually funny because we're also representing a person that's not sitting straight. I start walking.
We're also representing a person that's not sitting straight. Thank you so much. Now you're really being a good sport. So to go like this, and then whoop, with your spine, to have then weight put towards the front of the spine, to be light in the forehand, carry themselves back here, just from a physics perspective, is really, really, really difficult. Right? We are obviously not a horse. A horse is one cohesive biological unit, so it might even be easier for them than it is for us. But from just a really simple mechanics and physics perspective, the forces at play make this incredibly difficult for the horse not to do that and do that. Right? Okay, so that's just a little bit of an empathy lesson in moving straight with a long spine. Oh, no, no, no.
Oh, no.
We're going to need this
I'm
again.
keeping the long spine.
Actually, I'm going to hold on to it. Now, this time, okay, that's going to continue to track us, isn't it?
Yep.
This time, I want you to start back here, and I want you to move in a curve towards me.
Right.
I don't care which side you curve towards, I just got to hope that the camera picks it up. I'm sure it will.
So in a curve towards you.
Come in a curve toward me, yes. Okay, and move in a curve back towards the... Yep. Is it picking you up? Yes, it is. Okay, now same experiment. I want you to do... I'm going to stand in the middle of the circle, actually. This time you're going to move in a circle, but I want you to be aware of that plumb line through your body the same way you would be as if you walk straight. So if you walk straight and you're aware of that transverse line down the center of your body, I want you to have the same awareness in the curve of that center of your body and where you're placing it. Okay? Yep, and walk in a circle. Already, you're moving more square. Already, your movements are more grounded, stronger down to your feet. Be aware of that center line. There you go. So it causes you to slow down a little bit and think about where you're moving, right? Also, because it's a strange exercise, and you're thinking, where is he going with this? Where is he going with this? Which, by the way, is what a lot of horses think when we're training them. They're thinking, where are they going with this? Where are they going with this, right? You're a horse right now, and I'm your rider. And you're going, where am I going? What am I doing? So we shouldn't be assuming that balance automatically feels better to horses. Sometimes when we get hyper-focused on position, balance, and placement, the horse kind of goes, what's happening? Where are we going with this? Okay, this time I want you to imagine you've got a long spine and try as much as you can to imagine that you've got 4 legs, and at all times, those 4 legs have to remain onto the curve. So the shoulder doesn't fall in, it doesn't go out, the hindquarters don't fall in, hindquarters don't fall out, but you're walking in a curve that respects that center line through the spine. Try to imagine you have 4 legs and try and put that together. Okay. Not so easy, huh? And what you're doing, I don't know if you realize it, but you're taking your inside hind leg, which is your right foot, and you're placing it underneath yourself. You're placing it underneath yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Which is what horses do, exactly what horses do when they move correctly on a curve. Okay, stop. Okay, so the big point I'm getting to here is that the folks I see, please hold that for me, sorry, the folks I see who practice mother-foal bonding in emotional horsemanship, if you're practicing mother-foal bonding, if you've done the emotional horsemanship online course, I ask them to curve, right? And they curve in a way which doesn't respect the logic of how a horse must move in a curve. So if you're moving through space in mother-foal bonding, you have to be able to move in a way that simulates how a horse would move with a long spine and 4 legs. And what do I mean by this? May I have it back, please? Thanks. What I see them doing is this, right? I'll go the other way. They go like this. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's generally what I'm seeing. Okay? This isn't curving, it's something else. Can you see what that is? That movement?
Well, it's like yielding behind.
Yielding the hind, it's actually a form of lateral movement because I'm actually moving like this. Anytime, I'll take that again, anytime my legs cross over that midline point, it's no longer moving straight, you're now moving laterally. So when I say curve, I mean you have to curve in a way which respects the midline of the body. Okay? At all times. Regardless how big your curve is, you have to move in a way which respects the midline of the body, because lateral movements is a more highly aroused behavior. When a horse moves laterally, this is connected in natural emotional connection and behavior to fighting, to play, to avoidance behaviors. So sometimes negative emotions. Horses move sideways when they're frightened of something, when they're yielding to something. It's a different movement. And in mother-foal bonding, we want to be moving straight. We want to be moving in simple curves only. Straight or simple curves only. So now with that, this is our prop. Try moving in a curve which is also lateralizing for me. So we're going to move in a curve, but I want you to be lateralizing your steps. So your inside leg is going to be crossing over, and you're going to have the feeling that you yield to the outside shoulder or push through your outside shoulder. Yep. Yield to the outside shoulder. Yield, but you're still curving, right? So your pathway in space is more or less the same. But the posture that you're using to get there is totally different. Keep yielding to the outside. Yielding. So if I'm lunging you and I want more of a distance, I'd be yielding you away. That's it. Good. Now, if you can, Sane, please walk in a curve in a way which respects the midline of the body. Yeah. Now try a tight, make it a spiral here. Spiral to the center, but respect that midline. So you have to watch that inside leg, right? That it doesn't, it is weird, that it doesn't cross over the center line. This is how horses walk. There you go. So when horses are walking calmly, when they're walking with relaxation, they usually won't lateralize, or if they do lateralize, cross over, they do it very, very minimally. Very, very minimally. So when we're doing mother foal bonding, we have to be able to respect that midline of the body as we're spiraling. Yes? And that moment in mother foal bonding, just at the cutoff, the horse actually does one lateral movement only. And it's when the horse does that single step sideways with their inside fore. Okay? So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it's kind of important that these movements we can make, and just at a walk, how you use your body through space has meaning to a horse and can communicate different things. Like if we're moving in a curve that's lateralizing, it's a very different communication to a horse than if I moved in a curve that respected the midline of the body. Very different. Now, for me, because I've been training like this for years with this awareness, and I was a former dancer, it's really easy for me to know which one I'm doing. But often, when not aware, a lot of people, I'll ask them to spiral and they start lateralizing and moving away. And pretend you're the horse and we're curving together.
Okay, so
Walk towards me. If I'm lateralizing, what are you doing?
I'll walk into you.
You're walking into me. You are pushing me, right? So you lateralize away from me and we're walking in a curve. I'm pushing on you, right? So what you're saying, if you're curving and you're lateralizing, what you're actually saying to the horse, to a nice horse, will perceive that as, oh, they're yielding to me. My space. They're yielding to me. To a horse that might have natural connections to rage or natural connections to some negative expressions, or might be oppositional by nature or tough by nature. I'm not going to use the word dominant. They might perceive that as, oh, I can push you away from me, right? But if we curve together, let's practice this together. Let's go back here. If we curve together and both of us respect that midline of the body, let's respect the midline of the body and walk together. Right leg first. Match, steps, match, steps, match, steps, match, steps. What are we doing? We're like birds in flight, right?
So now which leg would I move?
You would yield your right leg away there. That would be a yield away from me.
And that would be the break-off.
Yes, the break-off point for mother foal bonding. So then, if we're moving in a way, even though I've got a vertical spine, my pathway through space and my postural movements communicate to the horse I'm either being pushed away from you or I move together with you like birds in flight. We coordinate and go together. So let's do the pushing away. You're going to push me away. But we're still curving, right? It's a slightly aggressive undertone, isn't it? Yeah? So let's go back. Heck, I could spend a whole dang clinic just on this. How to move.
You could.
Well, there'll be a course on it at some point. Or let's move together in a curve. And I'm going to suggest to you gently how much of a curve I want you to do. Yeah, exactly. Oh, oh, oh.
Now I lost you.
Now you lost me. So you have to be very concentrated on what I'm doing. We have to be really careful and acknowledge each other in the movement. But if you're pushing me away, who's the one that's having to pay attention? Probably me, because I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. But if we're moving together, we both have to be aware of each other. Unless someone decided to quit the chat and just walk away completely. Oi. Uh-huh. 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 Now, I haven't even gotten to change directions yet.
We keep going right.
So now, let's pause right there. I'm on the outside of your curve now.
Yeah.
You're protected on the inside. I'm going to change directions. But I'm going to change directions like a horse, not like a human. Because I have a vertical spine and 2 feet, it's very easy for me to go pivot, change direction. Very easy. That would be talking like a person, like a human being. If I wanted to talk with my body like a horse, I don't do that. Horses can pivot, but the only time they can pivot is if they go levade, rear, pirouette. So if I'm walking calmly with a horse and I suddenly go pivot, the horse goes, why did you pivot and pirouette away from me? Or the horse, if they're trying to be connected with you, says, you're inviting me to pirouette and I'm calm. I can't do that. Incongruent, doesn't make sense to the horse, creates a gulf of misunderstanding between you and the horse, and you didn't even realize it. You didn't even realize that suddenly you put you and the horse on different pages just because you pivoted away from them. So if I wanted to move like a horse, because I've got 4 legs and a long spine, I can't pivot. I've got to respect my midline and do an S in the other direction. It's like an S. So let's practice a couple of, and you just ended up on my inside. So let's practice that again. I'm going to go S. There's a moment when you're behind me, which here demonstrates huge trust I have in you as another horse. Because when you're behind me, I am vulnerable. You're in my blind spot, right? And now you fall on the inside. It's easy. Yeah? Why don't you try and take me? So you go S and I'll follow.
Okay. Hold on.
You go
Which
S
way am
that
I
way.
going?
Well, you would go
I
S.
already lost track.
You would go S that way and invite me to your inside.
Right. Okay. But we're all
Go, go,
that way.
go, go, and I'll drop
Oh, right.
on your inside.
So
And now
if I
I'm
do
paying
it again,
attention to you.
then I would go.
Yeah, exactly. And I drop on your inside there.
Right.
If I'm careful and I care about what you have to say with your body in space.
Right.
Yeah? I think that's all I want to talk about this subject today. Let's get the horses in here before it gets completely dark, or you have to go home.
I don't know what time it is.
Me
You
either.
have to check.
Yeah. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. Something to think about, and I want to see you all out in your arenas walking like idiots about with pieces of polypipe.